Chriselle.
Hi.
Hi, everybody, and welcome
Hello.
back to the Galatians 6:2 podcast, where compassion meets conversation. I am one of your hosts, Joanne Javelle.
And I'm your other host, Chriselle Elms. Welcome.
This is our last episode of season 1.
Yes.
And thank you for being on this journey with us.
Yes. We're going to give you the scoop by playing the scoop.
By playing the scoop for the
Yes.
last time.
How do you bounce back after spiritual burnout?
Ooh.
That's a tough one. One, for me, I have learned to take steps to kind of reset before I even get to that point. I've learned to recognize the signs, and it's usually like I'm more easily irritated. Obviously, it's gonna be more than likely in a church setting if we're talking about spiritual burnout.
Yeah.
I'm dreading certain volunteer things that maybe before I look forward to, and it's because I'm tired. And just recognizing that balance, because it's so exciting to do stuff for the church, but recognizing that I need to have my limits, and I need to have moments of saying no when I recognize I'm putting too much on my plate. But as far as getting to the point of spiritual burnout, I take some time to reset. I take some time off.
Yeah.
I rest. I eat well. I get some fresh air. I spend time in God's presence. And then once I feel like my cup is full, then I can come back from that place.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. I think, my answer is kind of very similar to yours. All season long, we've been shouting out different sermons that we've watched. And once again, I have to bring up the Redefining Rest sermon that was on Elevation, I want to say 2 months ago. And that kind of addressed the idea of burnout, what it looks like, and how to combat that.
Yeah.
And so my answer is like yours. Maybe you want to get to the place where you recognize the signs so you can prevent burnout versus having to come out of it. But if you are in the space of burnout, you want to set precautions in place. Absolutely. If you serve every Sunday, maybe you're like, I'm going to go down to 2 Sundays a month, 3 Sundays a month, 1 Sunday a month, because you have to be able to pour into people from a very healthy space. And burnout is not the healthiest place to be, because you are going to pass on that energy, even in the way you respond to people who you think you're otherwise helping. And so I agree with you. I think recognize the signs before you get there, put things in place, barriers in place to prevent that from happening. Once you're there, be honest with yourself, be honest with your leaders, let them know this is what you're experiencing, and come up with a plan for the bounce back.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you could relive one age for a day, what would it be and why? I love this question because I already have an answer.
Okay.
So I would go back to 24. And I know that's like pre-children, and it's not about wanting or not wanting to have children. Let's say children were not a factor.
Yeah.
24. I was working, I was making money. I worked in Manhattan in an investment bank, minimal bills. I got to travel. I was responsible without the heaviness of adulting. And I was going out all the time because I had the energy for it. And so
and free time.
And you had the capacity, you had the energy.
Yeah.
And so I probably would do 24 again, just because of and there was almost like a non-fear, whereas you get older, and I think wisdom maybe makes you think more, especially if you have children. You kind of make decisions from a different lens, where at 24 I didn't have any of that, and so I was a lot more risque, I would say. So
maybe like 18.
18, you're younger than me.
Because I was in college, I was working, I was in a place to where, like, kind of like you, I was just kind of like living life.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, to show you how kind of just free I was living in New York.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a dream one night that I ate a certain sandwich from a certain restaurant. The next day, I just hopped on the train
and you went,
and I just went. Like, all right, this is what we're doing today.
I think that's it. It's the go.
Yeah. And I do still have that kind of spontaneity in me now, but I'm more on the planning side.
Yeah.
Than on the spontaneity side. Especially being a mother, and if it's something where I have to take my son with me,
you have to plan.
There has to be at least be the forethought of, okay, depending on how long we're going, I either need to pack food or I need to make sure there's food there. Like, there's still some things I can't just be, all right, let's just go. We'll figure it out when we get there, So, yeah, like you said, I just saw life through a different lens at that point. I wouldn't go, maybe I would. Like my 20s, I was in the military in my 20s, so I don't know
if that would be it.
Maybe not. Although I did have a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in the military too. And I mentioned this in the episode on military, I appreciated the community.
Of course.
Of the military. You were family. That's who you had Thanksgiving with.
Yeah.
Not everybody went somewhere for Christmas, so sometimes we do Christmas together, but Thanksgiving was a big thing. And it wasn't even a Friendsgiving. It was on Thanksgiving Day. We had Thanksgiving.
That probably was so together. Beautiful.
Yeah. People's birthdays, we all got together.
Yeah.
Depending on where you worked, we would prank each other like on our birthdays.
Sounds like maybe you're going to your 20s.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. Because obviously there were still certain guidelines and stuff in place because I was in the military, but 18 was a time where I was living life
just free. Yeah.
I would look up student tickets for like the opera, and I would be all over just trying different things.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, ladies. I really enjoy your podcast on YouTube and appreciate the way you both talk so openly about important topics. I wanted to reach out with a question that's been on my heart. What do you do when you have a loved one who is struggling with a mental disorder but doesn't want help? He often pulls away from the people closest to him, like his mom and siblings, and spend most of his time locked in his room, only coming out when he's hungry. How can we support someone in this situation or even seek help for them if they don't want to accept it? Any advice or perspective you could share would mean a lot. Thank you for taking the time to read this and for all the conversations you share on your podcast. Thank you.
Wow. So there's a couple things about that. First and foremost, the age of the person matters. Is this person a minor or are they an adult? The type of relationship you have with that person also matters. Are you extended family? Are you a parent? Are you a sibling? So coming from the lens of, if this is a minor and they're having mental health issues, as the parent or guardian, whether or not they want to go to therapy or get professional help, you should absolutely still take them. Mm-hmm. There are some very good mental health professionals out there that can work with people who are not necessarily fond of therapy but have to be there anyway.
Yeah.
But just at least getting them started on that process is better than just kind of just leaving them to themselves. Mm-hmm. If it's an adult, you can absolutely recommend, you can share your concerns, but at the end of the day, as an adult, it's going to be up to them. Mm-hmm. The only time you can really do anything beyond that is if there are concerns for safety. Mm-hmm. And then you can, depending on the state, different states call it different things. Here we call it being Baker acted, basically involuntarily put on a mental health hold. Mm-hmm. And then kind of go from there. So it really just depends on the age of the person, what's going on.
And so that's tips for the person who's in need. Now, as the family member or friend, we want to make sure that you also protect your space in this, because we know how challenging it is to deal with someone who is experiencing a mental health crisis or is in the midst of a mental health crisis. And so it's very important that you stay prayed up. You want to stay covered so that you are always acting in the best interest of them and not from your own needs or desires for them. That's very important. You want to surround yourself with support as well, because watching someone go through it, especially if it's an adult who's refusing help, can be taxing on you and your own mental health. And it's very important that you keep that protected. So lean into your community, stay prayed up, and continue to meet the person with grace and compassion. Remember that their mental break concern is theirs, and you have no way of really knowing what they're going through. So compassion and grace is very important for them.
All right, viewer question 2. As someone trying to grow spiritually, how do I know when I should pray through something versus when I should seek professional help?
It's a great question.
That's a great question.
Okay. How do you know when you should pray through something versus seek professional help? Always pray through something.
Absolutely.
There's never a when is prayer first or second option. Prayer is always the first option.
Absolutely.
And so if you are someone who's trying to grow in your spiritual walk, you will find that praying kind of, I don't want to romanticize it, but praying helps you get there faster in that growth that you are seeking, that you are on. Prayer is creating intimacy with you and God. And so that's how God is going to speak to you anyway. When you set time aside to hear from God, you'll find that you'll hear from God now, not only through prayer time throughout your day, you'll hear from him. And so don't treat prayer as optional. I would say that. Now, when do you want to include professional help, I think is a better way of maybe looking at it, is when you are not able to now function as a contributing member of society, of a family, your job, whatever it is. If you find that whatever it is that you're going through is limiting you on how you show up every single day, it's time to consider professional help. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Prayer and professional help are never mutually exclusive.
Absolutely.
It's never an either or, like you said. Prayer is always going to be an option. We each know ourselves and our capacity mentally, and we really have to be, first and foremost, in tune with ourselves to know when something is beyond what we can manage. You absolutely can pray and make the decision that I've prayed on this, I'm gonna wait on God. However, praying on it doesn't mean that you don't need help to seek professional help. And I think that's more of an individual thing as to when you get to that point. But it can be something as simple as I've gone through a major life change, a divorce, a death in the family, and I just really need some help navigating this now.
Like a precautionary thing before anything serious happens.
Or it can be, I'm in this relationship, we're talking about marriage. I want to make sure before we go into marriage, we're on the same page. So there are different situations where therapy can be helpful. It doesn't necessarily have to be a severe mental health distress.
Absolutely.
But that's also where prayer comes in, because with prayer you get that discernment of you need to go talk to someone. Absolutely. Yes, always talk to God in addition to that.
Yeah, but always talk to God.
Yeah.